Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September the 20th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. More or less just been hanging out for the day. Another day off. It's been nice. I did go ahead and get a workout in, which was nice and chill. Let's see here. Not much else to really report on the it's all quiet on the Western Front, if you will, at least for me. Food corner. What did I eat last night? Okay, yes, I remember. It's coming back to me. I made more or less like two smash patties, at least the best I could make with a smash patty with the meat I had. I really want to get one of those things that they use where you mash them down. Maybe one day, but made a double bacon cheeseburger situation. It was good. It was yummy with a couple of hot dogs and some fries. Definitely hit the spot. Let's see here. Like I said, nothing else to really report. It's been chill. We're relaxing. Let's go ahead and do our startup and we'll get into some news. Hopefully it sounds good. All right. First story comes from the Associated Press. Israel's military says its strike on Beirut killed senior Hezbollah official Ibrahim Akil. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, so forgive me in advance. Israeli military announced that its airstrike Friday on a neighborhood of Beirut killed Ibrahim Akil, a senior Hezbollah military official. There was no immediate confirmation of his death from Hezbollah. The Israeli strike in the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital killed at least 9 people and wounded nearly 60 others, according to Lebanese health officials, and flattened 2 apartment buildings. The Israeli military also claimed that its strike killed other top operatives of Hezbollah's elite Radwan force, without elaborating. Hezbollah officials has confirmed that Akil was supposed to be in the building in the Dahia district that was hit. Akil served on Hezbollah's highest military body, the Jihad Council, and has been sanctioned by the United States for being involved in 2 terrorist attacks in 1983 that killed more than 300 people at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut and the U.S. Marine Corps barracks. There's also been just back and forth missile fire from both sides. So that's kind of been an ongoing thing since the, pager, walkie-talkie explosion situation. Also, there's a bit of an update on that. Like, there's just been more, at least, it feels like it's more concrete to say it looks like there was a shell company in Hungary that was involved, because there was an initial brand, I think it's called Gold Apollo, and they're so you guys were the ones who made these, and what do you guys have to say about it? And they're well, at first they didn't want to talk on it, they didn't want to speak on it, but the more pressure, they kind of kept saying, hey, we gave these pagers, our brand name to these pagers to this group. And they're okay. And they look to that group and they're well, we don't really have a comment. We're not involved. We didn't do anything about this. But essentially, it looks like there was some kind of interference by Israel in some kind of way. They get these pagers. They sell these pagers to Hezbollah because they already know that Hezbollah is trying to ditch their phones because they're scared and afraid of, Israel, being able to either hack them or, listen in on their conversations, what have you. So now it seems, just kind of listening around, that things have kind of been reduced to either courier or landline, which is very still risky because most likely, Israel's got your landlines pretty flooded. They're probably, in there too. So, this has been a little bit more of back to basics, if you will. But before I move on, I did want to talk about one part I have highlighted if I can find it. I'll scroll ahead here. Bear with me. Here we go. Yeah. Kind of moving back to the front in Gaza. Overnight, Palestinian authorities said that 15 people were killed in multiple Israeli attacks in the Gaza Strip. Those included 6 people, including an unknown number of children, in an airstrike early Friday morning in Gaza City that hit a family house, Gaza's civil defense said. Another person was killed in Gaza City when a strike hit a group of people on the street. All right. Let me go ahead and move on to our next beat, where actually a lot of stuff going on in Kentucky. There's actually like a lot of news. I'm trying to like just think of things that are coming to my mind. I know in Michigan, Kamala Harris sat down with like Oprah Winfrey. It was almost like literally like a people are either going to get this or not get this, but it felt like a summoning circle. It felt like a fucking ritual they were just trying to pull off to like bag Michigan or something. Because it's like, the problem is like they talked about things that are very heartfelt, and I feel like you're trying to evoke the like Oprah bump, like essentially saying like, hey, we're hitting a lot of suburban women here, and like that is enough to change the tide potentially in an election if you really win them over. And Oprah Winfrey can get you that. And it's like, that's why she was there at the DNC talking. And it's why she's having this like heart to heart where you're talking about issues, specifically issues that really were like helping Kamala Harris or like helps like the Democrats, like, abortion, gun rights, stuff like that. Like those were very key notes that were played, but I didn't really feel like you were talking about anything that I feel like is going to change the conversation in your favor as a whole. Also, I feel like, once again, people in Michigan, a lot of, like, a big problem is, like, the stance that, Biden and Harris have in terms of, like, backing Israel to the hilt. I don't think that they're really going to change or come off that, and that conversation really didn't seem like that was really helpful to that. So I don't know if it's really going to move the needle in Michigan, which is something you do need to do, because it's one of the swing states that like Harris needs to win, but we'll see. That was the thing. I know on the other side of the aisle, Trump had some kind of rally somewhere. I wish I knew. I'm just kind of pulling this out of my brain here. But like, essentially he was talking to the Jewish community, and he's like, hey, if I lose this, it's going to be kind of on y'all. Like, essentially saying, hey, it's on the Jewish community if I lose. It's up to y'all if I win. But then at the same time, he proceeded to be like, oh, but I love Israel, big stand, support, I'm making it happen, which he has a track record of doing. So just very kind of strange kind of zigzag there, but I don't know. Trump's in a weird state right now. Like, once again, it's very much 2016 of like, I think the campaign kind of knows that they're on the back foot here and they kind of got to go crazy, but like that's where they kind of do their best work. So who knows what's going to happen coming, out of September into October, where, who knows, we're due for a surprise, right? But anyway, shit, let me get to Kentucky. That's where I have on my fucking list here for news to talk about. CNN. Kentucky sheriff killed judge in his chambers following an argument, police say. Here's what we know. So I was like, whoa, this is brutal. This is intense. So let's get back to Kentucky. Investigators are trying to determine what motivated a Kentucky sheriff to allegedly shoot and kill a district judge after the two had an argument inside the judge's chambers, according to Kentucky State Police. District Judge Kevin Mullins, 54, was found around 3 p.m. Thursday with multiple gunshot wounds and pronounced dead at the Letcher County Courthouse in Whitesburg, Kentucky. State Police Trooper Matt Gayhart said at a Thursday evening news conference. Letcher County Sheriff Sean M. Steins, 43, shot Mullins after an argument inside the judge's chambers. A preliminary police investigation revealed. Steins is now facing a first-degree murder charge, state police said. CNN is trying to determine whether Steins has an attorney. Steins turned himself in after the shooting and was arrested at the scene without incident on Thursday, authorities said. He's cooperating with the authorities. It is unclear who will take over as the county sheriff following the arrest of Steins, who had been sheriff for about 8 years. The article goes into a bit of the background about both of them. But what I'm looking for is what was the argument about? Like, what arced this up? I haven't done enough research to figure that out. It hasn't been revealed to me as of yet. But hopefully I can kind of come back with the motive about what provoked Steins to shoot Mullins and do that this way, because like obviously that's very crazy. That's a very boom knee jerk reaction, you would think, but I don't know. Maybe there's something that led up to this shit, but I haven't compiled the information to tell y'all that as of yet. But when I do, hopefully I can give y'all an update. I'm sure there'll be more coming down the pipe on this. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some more Kentucky news. This is a bit lighter, bit better news. Let me recalibrate here. Loading issues. Okay. From WLKY, Governor Beshear signs order banning conversion therapy in Kentucky. On a subject that has been contested in Kentucky for years, Governor Andy Beshear signed an executive order Wednesday banning conversion therapy. Beshear signed the order at 10 a.m. in the Capitol Rotunda, joined by officials from the Kentucky Mental Health Coalition, the Fairness Campaign, Kentucky Psychological Association, and National Association of Social Workers. Right before signing, he said this: "Today we're making sure that individuals, Kentucky citizens, are not subjected to a so-called therapy that we know causes extensive harm. We can't reach our full potential unless everyone is supported to be their true selves. And so from your governor and from your executive branch, we see you, we care about you." Conversion therapy has been a controversial practice targeting LGBTQ youth, which seeks to change their sexual orientation or gender identity. So really happy to see a place as conservative coded as Kentucky make this decision. It's part of I feel like the charm and appeal that I feel like, Beshear kind of brings to the table. Obviously he wasn't alone in making this happen, but still very cool to see and talk about. Let's see here. I did want to kind of add this. Kentucky now joins more than 20 states with bans of the practice, including New York, California, and neighboring Illinois, according to the Movement Advancement Project. Let's see. One point I wanted to add here, though. Kentucky's neighbor, Indiana, actually is the only state with a law prohibiting local level bans on conversion therapy. Essentially, they're trying to make that like a thing that you can never get rid of, which is crazy. To essentially take a person and be like, hey, we feel like you're going down a wrong path with the life that you would like to live, that is going to make you happy. We think that's against God or it's against nature, whatever the fucking reason they're setting this person down, strapping this person down probably at this point. And they proceed to more or less torture, traumatize, and coerce this out of a person, change a person. And it's like, how is this something that you think and feel is ethical to do to a fellow human being, another person? Usually in a lot of situations, someone who is your kin, someone you care about. Oh, I care about you so much that I want you to stay the way that I think you should be. It's just such a crazy ass fucking notion. And when this shit came up again, I had to remind myself about it, because it's just like, it's crazy that this is still something that we are just at. Like, in my head, in my heart, I would like this to be something that is just like the way of the lobotomy. But it's just not. It's just not. It's still a thing that people think that they should be doing. In fact, they need to be doing more of. It's a push. And I have to remind myself that 20 is under half of what, this nation is made out of. It's still something that people feel like should be in play. So I was like, you know what? Damn it, Isaiah, you need to definitely talk about this shit. It's a win for starters. That's good. We love talking about wins. But two, it's a reminder that like this is still an active practice that people think is an effective method of making someone giving someone a better life. It's like, no, dude, like get the fuck out of here with that warped ass fucking shit. So, all right. Speaking of warped ass motherfuckers. Oh man, dude, this guy hit my radar like a fucking meteor. I was literally just chilling actually, and I was like, you know what? I haven't watched some Hassan. Let me just pop on over. Let me see what the stream's looking like. And literally, he just goes into this deep dive real quick about Mark Robinson. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, it's giving Kanye. It's giving Ye. It was so crazy. So I watched that for about like 30 minutes. And then sure enough, like, it's just hitting like because he's pulling, from news and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is becoming a big headline story because this motherfucker is running for governor in North Carolina. So it makes sense that this is a relevant topic right now. So yeah, let's dive into this a little bit. And I gotta say too, there's definitely gonna be a lot I'm missing. I really feel like you should check this shit out if you're interested in this crazy just situation that is taking place right now in North Carolina. But yeah, from CNN. I'm a black Nazi. That's a quote, by the way. North Carolina GOP nominee for governor made dozens of disturbing comments on porn forums. Porn forum, but I mean, he was just going off. Let's see here. And I really like that, like, CNN is, like, doing the whole, like, crazy red thread spider board, like, to prove that it's like, look, dude, we didn't just pull this up from thin air. We really corroborated. We went and we did the work to prove that this is Mark. Like, this is Robinson to a T. Like, this guy is lazy about it. Like, he used the same email. We can trace the literally the handle that he likes to use. It's like Mini Soldier or some shit like that. And it's like, it's just throughout this whole fucking process, and they have it throughout 10 years. And it's like, dog, like, yeah, we just pulled your receipts. And essentially from Robinson, he's like, nah, that's not me. That's not me. But that's why this article goes into such a deep dive to say, like, no, we're very certain it's you. But let's read a little bit. Mark Robinson, the controversial and socially conservative Republican nominee for governor of North Carolina, made a series of inflammatory comments on a pornography website's message board more than a decade ago, which I believe is called Nude Africa, in which he referred to himself as a black Nazi and expressed support for reinstating slavery, a CNN K-File investigation found. Despite a recent history of anti-transgender rhetoric, Robinson said he enjoyed watching transgender pornography, a review of archived messages found in which he also referred to himself as a perv, which I think that's adequate self-assessment. He also goes on to say that he was like doing peeping Tom shit. Like, he had 2 instances where he was, like, looking into a woman's shower until eventually he wasn't able to do it again. And he's like, oh, it's such an amazing, beautiful memory for me. And, like, literally CNN goes and goes the extra mile once again to kind of prove and cite themselves to be like, hey, this is how we came to this conclusion. And it's like, this actually matches a timeline where it's like, oh, his mom worked as, like, doing custodial work. So he would actually have access to this black college where he could potentially do the things where he's talking that he says he's doing on this forum. And it's like, ooh, that's very unsettling, dude. I mean, they're just throwing dagger on dagger and dagger. And this is important to mention because this isn't just something that is going to affect North Carolina. We're in the middle of a goddamn election, right? And I love this because Trump is just dragged into this Robinson conversation because he's gone to bat to give his Trump bump to this guy. To the extent where he goes, I think that this guy is better than Martin Luther King. He's a Martin Luther King 2.0. To hear him say it was just so funny. He's like, he's an MLK times 2. I'm like, what? Like, what? And then it's even funnier because they pan it to him, they pan it to Robinson, and he's kind of grimacing. He doesn't like that. And it's like, you would think, like, that's the best kind of compliment. But, like, you pan back, to a flashback where Robinson is trashing on MLK. In fact, he calls MLK a slur, and I'm immediately, when I first hear this, I'm like, oh my God, what did he say? What did he say? And in my heart, I kind of knew, but, like, I didn't know, so I had to wait until I read this article. Essentially, Robinson goes on to call Martin Luther King, Martin Lucifer Coon. And I'm like, brother, please. So meanwhile, he's like, Trump's like, oh, I see, maybe you don't like that so much, but no, it's a compliment. It's good. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's like, yeah, man, sure. I guess this is our new Martin Luther King. But, like, essentially Robinson's beef is like, oh, MLK was a commie bastard, blah, 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 blah. Like, he was just he was not good for America. Like, essentially just trashing on his name. And it's like, dude, like, what are you, rage baiting? Like, it's giving Uncle Ruckus to, like, the umpth degree. But it's just so crazy that this man is just running rampant on, like, just porn forums, just yakking and yakking and yakking. He also is just like doing a bunch of reviews and other things like that, which is also how like CNN is tying this man together to this shit. Once again, he's also pro-slavery. He's like, yeah, I'd love to own some slaves myself. Some shit he's saying in forums. It's like, why are you saying these things, brother? Is this helping you? Is this helping you get there? And it's like, I'm sure every once in a while someone you've scrolled a little bit further, and because once again, my problem with Robinson isn't that he's into porn. Everyone's into porn. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle, whether you're political or not political. But it is the fact that you were revealing and saying these crazy things, but then you're also a politician who is railing against these things. You're railing against transgender rights. You don't want them to go into the bathroom that they feel like they identify to, because it's like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. But then you're also, once again, on like Nude Africa or whatever, being like, oh, I love this shit. It's like, they're a girl and a guy. I love it. You gotta cut the guy out of it. So it's like, clearly, you seem to understand this somewhere in your fucked up brain when you're horny, when your dick's hard. But like, when it's flaccid, all of a sudden I gotta play my roles. And it's like, dog, like, this is the problem with y'all. When you get you motherfuckers opened up and you're in the closet, it's like, you guys are freaks, and you seem to understand. And I when I say freak, I mean freak in a negative connotation. I feel like that's something that should be understood already. Like, there's a good freak when you're being freaky, and there's a bad freak. You all know when I say what. But that being said, oh my god, he was on Black Planet. I'm looking at the phone, I'm like, oh no, he was on Black Planet. But I mean, they really just go through and connect the dots on this man. And it's obviously crazy too, because then there's people who are connected to this man along the way, like, I love this guy. Like, once again, he is literally just a poison pill. And it is crazy that Trump is going to be rallying, and like, is Robinson even going to be there? He can't get off the ballot now, not that he wanted to. Like, he was going to ride this shit out. But yeah, I'm very curious to see if he's going to win from here. I don't really know how the race is really sizing up. I didn't give a fuck about who's going to win governor of North Carolina, if I'm being fucking honest. But I really hope it's not this fucking monster, this fucking menace, dude. So yeah, man. I don't know how, like, once again, how this shit's gonna pan out, but I will be sure to keep you posted. But I mean, yeah, there's definitely more here if you'd like to read it. Something I wanted to add too, this man uses slurs that I didn't even know existed. I was like, whoa, dude, you just dusted off an ancient one. So, like, just be forewarned, I guess. But yeah, man, this dude is a heavy hitter in the worst way. But yeah, I've got one more thing I wanted to cover, and then I'll go ahead and let you go. Which, you know what that means. I'm going to take my last break. Whew. All right. From the Associated Press. Justice Department opens civil rights probe on sheriff's office after torture of 2 black men. So this is actually an update. The Justice Department has opened a civil rights investigation into a Mississippi Sheriff's Department whose officers tortured 2 black men in a racist attack that included beatings, reported use of stun guns, and assaults with a sex toy before one of the victims was shot in the mouth, officials said Thursday. The Justice Department will investigate whether the Rankin County Sheriff's Department has engaged in a pattern or practice of excessive force and unlawful stops, searches, and arrests, and whether it used racially discriminatory policing practices, according to Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark. Obviously, there's more details here. Essentially, we're talking about just crimes and atrocities of the Goon Squad. They tried to get away with this shit. They looked like they were for some time, and I'm glad that, they were found guilty. But now, looks like the Department of Justice is circling back around to give them some more time. So, fuck yeah. This is one of those times where I'm like, yeah, do your thing, justice system, please. For fucking once, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Just a bit of an update there. I'm sure there's going to be more to come on this, and we can get back to maybe some of those details. But I'd rather not. It is pretty grim work, pretty nasty situation. But, yeah. Definitely just one of the better updates I guess I could bring. So, you know what I mean? That's where I want to leave it though for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Shout you out top of the month. Let's see here. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Really helps out there. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Let's see. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.